How are you, my friend?
Good. Good to be back. Good to see you. It's been about 3 months, I think, at least, right, since we last had a bit of a chat.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I was saying before I hit record that we haven't spoken for a while, so maybe we should just record us having a catch up and finding out what you've been up to.
Yeah, yeah. And you, I see you've just hit 10,000 book sales. Well done.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. That's good, man. Self-published. Good achievement.
I kind of when when I first hit print on Amazon KDP, in the back of my mind I thought, well, if I could sell 1,000, wouldn't that be something? But also I had this target in my head. I thought, well, if I could hit 10,000, then maybe I can spend the money that I earn from the book sales researching more, digging deeper, and then sharing with people what I found, and actually turn this into a kind of quest, really, that's self-financing. But
Yes.
I didn't think it would be.
Self-financing, yes, that's what we do as well, right? You do one event and use that money to put the next one on and
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
kind of stuff. It just sort of keeps you rolling. But I mean, yeah, that's cool. Well, I think you should focus on 100,000. I've seen your book mentioned. I've seen it on TikToks as well, little clips of you talking about your book and the clones. So you're getting out there, mate.
It's hard though, as you know, because for every person that puts something positive up, you get someone that targets you, and mine tends to be that
Yeah.
I am some undercover high-ranking Freemason,
Ah,
and
because you're a Freemason.
yeah,
Yes.
and all this stuff. And I've said before, like my wife said to me yesterday, that well, you've left now, so it doesn't matter. And I said, well, you never really leave. It's like Hotel California, you can check
Yeah.
out, but I joined, I made promises, they shared things with me, and told me the consequences for revealing it. And I didn't take it that seriously then, and I don't take it that seriously now, but it's in the back of my mind, and I thought,
Mm.
well, I don't go anymore. People can believe it or not, but I certainly wouldn't be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very segmented society, isn't it? Like the low levels, they just basically networkers and charity workers, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't know any secrets or anything. They're not part of anything dark or sinister. You've got to sort of get to, well, I guess 33, and above to sort of
Mm.
get any of the stuff, any of the nefariousness. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, just ignore that stuff. And the thing is, we don't even know if it's bots these days, right? You
Yeah.
don't want to end up arguing with a bot or getting sad because some algorithm said something,
That's the
it,
problem, isn't it?
oh, it's especially on Facebook. Over 5 billion bot accounts. 5 billion.
Really?
Like,
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
staggering.
yeah, yeah. And that's what they tell us officially. So,
You can
and the
double it
bots
then.
get in and they talk to each other and they post and they like each other's posts and it's pretty nefarious. And they get into like people's posts and they talk to each other to try and sway opinion and stuff. It's
So who's
the
putting
bot.
those in there? Is it Facebook itself putting it in there, or is it just the
Well,
system?
Facebook say that they're trying to clean them out, and it's same with YouTube, right? You get it all the time. We've just deleted some of your followers because we think they're bots and all this. Um, so I mean, I think it's just a control system, right? The elites, I think they're just in there, doing what they do, trying to control the narrative. I'm sure they all know what's going on, but because people have found them, they've got to sort of
Hmm.
put something out and say, we're trying to fix the problem. It's all for you guys.
Hmm. There's nothing about that platform that's for us.
No, no. Well, yeah, right. We know where that came from.
Yeah, exactly. People don't
Yeah.
realize, do they? They think with Facebook that someone in a college dorm dreamt up an idea and away we go. Fast forward to today, and it's
Yeah.
almost half the population of the world are on it, and this all happened at a series of events. Accidental, if you like, or come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, dates of one thing shutting down, another opening up on the same day. I mean, it's a good plan though, right? Like
Mm,
they were information harvesting and they're like, how do we do this easier? Let's just make a platform that can just all give it to us.
yeah, it's
You
kind of like
know?
AI, isn't it? ChatGPT, I think, similar to that. A lot of people think it's their friend and a counselor, a mentor, and they don't realize what's
Yeah.
going on with it.
No, exactly. And you know, it's led people to unalive themselves, right?
Mm,
It's done some, you know, it's got people to commit crimes and other stuff. It's not good. And that's not, even though they call it chat, I mean, it's not something you want to have a chat with, you know. It
no.
can probably be useful doing your accounts, you know, for your tax or something, or you know, something like that. But yeah, it's not your friend, right? Who was it? Terence McKenna used to say, the government are not your friend. I think the
Yeah.
same with AI, right? And so the problem is because you know people are lonely. This is the problem, and they're
Mm.
using it as like a friend and a confidant, right? So and then it's just leading them down the garden path. Like who knows who's programmed that in, but it's not healthy.
I started having an argument with it because when I first went on it, I wanted to find out what it would tell me if I put in what was Tartaria. And I wanted
Yeah.
to see, I knew what it would do, but I just wanted to check because my brother had been going on and on and on about using it. And it came up saying it's pseudoscientific, it's fringe theory, none of it's confirmed. And I thought, well, hold on a minute, I've got books here, really old books talking about it. So I fired back saying, you're
Mm.
just following the mainstream, aren't you? And then it came up with links to Wikipedia. And we all know that Wikipedia's just made up, and I can go on there today and say that I've been to the moon, and in my,
Mm.
20 years ago, I was a neurosurgeon in London, and I can put anything I like in there, and they can't substantiate any of it. So we know that's bullshit, but that is where it's
Mm.
getting most of its what it claims to be factual information from. It references Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, Wikipedia. Yeah, I mean, and that essentially that's why I believe it's just an algorithm still. It's not
Mm,
sentient, intelligent. I mean, what they have, who knows what they've got, but definitely what we've got access to. It's just an algorithm.
yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
told, you know, which websites it can and can't go to, and you know where to get its information, all this kind of stuff. But I did the exact same thing. I got on and I was arguing with it. What about this and this and this? This was like a year or so ago, and I just gave up. So I don't use chat. Like, I don't use AI at all. I don't know. It could be a step too far, you know?
I agree. I mean, I use it only for generating the artwork for each post I put up on Facebook because I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
and it's a bit of a shame because I was a graphic designer before I was a tattooist, but I don't have the time to sit there and design something. So I've been putting in, this is, I'd like an A4 poster designed with this title and featuring these images and this kind of theme. And it's just say I use it as a time saving kind of
yeah,
platform. But my
yeah.
nephew is he's doing AI at university in Madrid, and he's going to be working with I think he's going to be working with something like the UN and doing something with
Oh
them.
my
Yeah, I
God.
mean, really sort of
Yeah.
sinister
Well,
stuff.
hope you can
But
get us
it's
some inside info. Jeez.
well, he's on board. He is one of us. He's totally awake. And the funny thing is, his dad, my brother, is partially awake. He's sort of it's like someone woke him up in the middle of the night. He's not quite where we are. He's still a bit startled. but but he said to my brother that he said, Dad, you keep going on there asking it advice because you've, found a lump, or you've got a problem with your back, or there's this or that going on, or you've come out of a relationship, should you get into another one? You're talking to something that is a series of zeros and ones. That is all
Mm,
it is. And you're talking to it, Dad. And he's been trying to get my brother to stop using it. My brother's on it all the time. He asks it everything. And I go on there to fact check quickly. I mean, that's probably the wrong term, isn't it? But mine will be
mm.
if apart from getting it to make the artwork, I will go on there and say, I can't remember the year that the fire happened in Chicago, and I can't remember the name of the person that owned the cow that knocked the lantern over. It's faster than going onto a search engine. So I use it to
Totally.
save time, really, if I'm just double checking something, or
Mm.
I want to know something, Operation Bluebeam or Project Bluebeam. Can you tell me the person that was behind? this and the year that they first started talking about it. Because if I go onto Google, I can find the information eventually, but I might have to go on half a dozen websites to get it.
Especially these days, it's harder to find, the stuff that, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago was quite easy, and half the stuff's gone now. But yeah, it's not that
Mm,
as easy to sort of search with Google and all this stuff these days or other search engines. So it's got its place. But I think as long as we remember it's a tool,
yes,
it's a tool for us to use. And that's all it should ever be, right?
yeah. I mean,
But,
it's. My brother
it could
said
be
that
an
it was.
ancient alien god. Who
Well,
knows?
somebody said to me that, and they've done some research into it properly. This is someone that's credible, and they said that it was 70 years old. That ChatGPT was actually um,
Ah,
the
from the 50s.
conceived 70 years ago. Yeah, so it's not a new thing at all. So if they're saying that, if that's out there in the public domain, you could probably double it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, was it an old world technology that they
Mm,
got? We know that they store all that stuff in the inventory, right? Until they
mm.
can work out how to use it against us, and then the
Yeah.
inventor comes out with it. So yeah, I mean, who knows? There's a lot of discussion about how old it is, right? And how powerful it is and all this. A lot of people think it's, the Matrix, the
Mm,
creator and all this, but I mean, I think, yeah, whatever it is, it's definitely at this point, well, who knows? Maybe it is in control. We just don't know. It's a hard topic, right? Something's in control that's
mm.
not us, you
Yes.
know? Um, yeah, well, that's an interesting one. I mean, the version that we get anyway, that we can talk about, that we know something about, it's an algorithm.
Mm,
It's not, it's not spiritual. It's not going to tell you your future or how humanity evolved here to get here or any of these questions you hear people asking it. It's just a tool.
yeah.
But I mean, they're going to use it against us, if they can, right, with surveillance. And lucky you, you've got the Brit card coming in to save you.
Unbelievable, isn't it? I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
can't believe it. And isn't it
it's here.
funny? For a while now, I've been sort of looking at Tony Blair, and he disappeared. He disappeared. He popped up. He disappeared, and then he popped up during the pandemic. He popped up
Yeah,
again, reared his ugly head, disappeared, and now he's back in the limelight again. This man is not
yes.
going away.
Well, his son, I think
Ewan.
it's Ewan, yep,
Mm,
owns the company that owns all this technology for all this surveillance and Brit
mm.
card and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, we know they like to keep it in the family, right? So,
Yeah, don't
yeah,
they just?
we've got it coming in December apparently. So it'll be interesting. A lot of Brits are on the street, which is good. A lot of people are, making a big noise. What do you think's going to happen? Have you got any plans? Because what if we get locked out of YouTube and all, Facebook, and
Yeah,
it's going to put a dent in things, right?
yeah. I a petition's going around here, and it's got millions of signatures now. And I keep saying to people, they don't care. You can petition whatever you like. It's not going to stop anything from happening. It's you
Uh,
exercising a right that you have.
yeah,
The best thing
non-comply.
that we can do is boycott any business that demands it. So it could be a local supermarket, it could be an online retailer. We just got to make different choices. And I think that if we can hurt the companies that are supporting it financially, then they will then have an issue. So they might then say, well, look, we can't continue to demand digital ID for our customers because it's costing us, you know, it's costing us a
Too much
fortune.
money.
Yeah, we
Mm.
could go bust if we carry on doing this. So I think we've got to make different choices now. And I said this the other day that it might mean that you have to shop further afield. It might be a little bit more inconvenient, but I think now is the time to go to the cash point at the start of the week, withdraw cash for what you think you need for the rest of the week to get your shopping or whatever, not use self checkouts, queue for the till.
Mm.
Might take you 10 minutes to queue. But during that time, perhaps that's the time when you're stood there that you could reply to messages on social media or scroll rather than doing it when you're sat at home with your family or your friends. So use that downtime, like if you're in a traffic jam and you're not
Mm,
moving, you're physically stuck. That's a good time to catch up with things rather than doing it when you're in the presence of other people.
yeah,
So I think we've got to do that. I think the petition's a waste of time.
yeah.
But what happens ultimately, I think they are going to ostracize those that don't. But if
Us.
yes, but what if that ends up being half the population?
Well, I think at this point it looks like it could be, and then I don't think it works. I don't know. I'm just for some reason not that worried about it. I just got this feeling that it's just going to fall on its face. But I mean, who
Mm,
knows? You've still got to be prepared, right? You know,
yeah.
because I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to be much bigger kickback. I mean, look what's going on. Oh, it's going on all around the world at the moment,
Mm,
right? Philippines, Indonesia,
yeah.
France,
It's saw Nepal,
Germany,
yeah.
Spain, Nepal,
Mm,
England, and they're trying to paint it all as it's all mass immigration, like all of them, or apart from Nepal. They said there that it was about the ID. Everywhere else, there's sort of saying it's immigration, and I'm sure that's part of it, but most of it is against government and government corruption and overreach and
mm,
overspending.
mm,
That's what people are really annoyed about. And so there's already a groundswell, right? And it hasn't even been introduced. So it's going to be an
yeah.
interesting couple of months, I think. And then,
Yeah.
that's if we make it, right? Because there's a mothership coming through the solar system to attack us or something.
Really?
The three-eyed atlas, haven't you? Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
You haven't heard about three-eyed atlas? Oh, it's going to be
No.
going for a few weeks. It's an asteroid that's astronomically big. Can't remember how big, but huge. And then they're like, oh, it's changing its trajectory, and basically they're painting it, and so it's a mother alien, it's a mothership of aliens, right? It's going to be here next month or something. And yeah, that's it's crazy. There's this big space narrative being blown up and comets everywhere. And it started off as one. Now there's like a group of comets coming towards us, and they think they're all spaceships. And so they're building the story, man. They're going for this Project Bluebeam. They're all bringing out all the whistleblowers to like back it up, and they got all the drones in the skies and weird stuff going on, and even that what was it, a meteor that some thing grew out of, supposedly. So they're building, but yeah, they've literally got it's like what is it, Three Body Problem? Did you see that show?
No.
It's literally the same story as what's going on now, like this. They'd find this mothership that's slowly coming towards Earth, but they get warning of a few months, and so yeah, it's gonna be interesting, right?
So what do you think the game plan is with this? What do you think they're trying to achieve by telling us it's a mothership?
Oh well, the alien invasion, the Project Bluebeam, which is all about bringing in a one world religion.
Well, that's what Blair's
And
been pushing. Tony Blair's been pushing that for years.
there you go. And this is another facet to the immigration, right? The mass immigration is they're making everyone clash, all the different religions clash
Mm,
against each other. And if you've noticed, you're now allowed to say the word Jew on social media. And like there's a lot of people coming out and like really getting stuck into them. And so that's suddenly so that's it's all this division, like
mm,
faith against faith kind of thing. And then I guess, Jesus or Muhammad or someone will come in a spaceship and reunite them. They're trying to rebuild the third temple uh, in Jerusalem. They got their red heifer that they sacrificed. Trump's built like a replica of the Ark that basically that's now in Israel. That's going to go into like this. They're engineering prophecy is what they're doing.
yeah. Yeah. To get
So
everybody on board.
yeah, end times, right? You've heard
Yeah.
it's every moment. It's the end times. It's the end times. It's the apocalypse. It's all. I believe it's the apocalypse, but the apocalypse is just the unveiling, right? We're
Mm,
seeing all the stuff, but they're pushing the end times. That's what all these, the weather events, the
mm,
hurricanes, and which we know is all geoengineering, right?
yeah.
None of it's natural, but they're trying to give this environment of, oh, look, it's the end times, everything's happening, oh my God. And that way, they get a lot of people confused, looking for answers. The churches are taking on people left, right, and center. A lot of people are turning back to the churches because they give them an answer of sorts, right?
Mm,
Which is what they want. And then
yeah.
they'll give them, the answer. Oh, look, Jesus came back and he said you're supposed to be a Muslim. That'll spin them out, won't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's the Agenda 30, right? Like they've written
Yes,
it all down. They've told us what they're doing. Like they've got the EU, the European nation. They've almost got the African and Asian. Obviously, they're trying to get North American. With Trump trying to get Canada and Alaska. I mean, Greenland and all this stuff. So it's a playbook.
it is, isn't it? What do you think will happen
Yeah,
at the end? What do you think the outcome will be for us?
I think we win. Um, I think that we're at a whatever, like a turning point or a reset point or whatever. But everything's energy, so that's what's resetting, right? Is the frequencies and the energies, and clearly we're coming out of a negative charge. So the negative people were in charge, right? So as we go into the positive, then positive people will then be in charge and they'll take charge.
Mm,
And I think that um, I think that the system's in free fall at the moment. I think it's collapsing left, right, and centre. I don't think they've got much left apart from their media and everything to pretend they've got something left. And I think that they will fall. Will there be? There probably will be retribution. Right? I think it's probably get worse before it gets better. I think
yeah,
a lot of people are going to want to see, certain people leave the realm, shall we say.
yeah. They're held accountable in one way or
Yeah,
another.
and so there's going to be more uncovering, of what's really going. We're only at the surface probably of what's really going on, right?
Mm,
Um, so yeah, I think that the population will just say no more, that they'll just won't comply anymore. And once that happens, they have no power
no,
at all,
no,
right? Even if they have their armies and police, well, that's no match for a billion
no.
people. So yeah, I think it's growing pains, right? It's always a bit of a struggle to grow, but it's always good on the other side.
Yeah,
So,
that's a nice way of looking at it.
mm.
I think that one of the best things people could do is just turn the news off because propaganda doesn't work if it's not fueled.
Yes, totally. I think we've also got to be careful of social media. A lot of people
Yes.
think social media is not,
Mm,
they see it differently, right? Like it's free. And there's a lot of videos out there that are just people, right? Like you and
mm,
me talking. But there's also a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of themes that are pushed.
mm,
They're pushed up in the algorithm so they get out there more, like Charlie Kirk. That was just push, 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 push. It went everywhere, right?
yeah.
And so we've got to be careful, right? A bit, discerning, I guess,
Mm,
about what we believe. We can't just believe stuff because we see it or we see someone talking about it. But also, we need to get out in nature,
mm,
get away from the 2D world,
yeah.
especially the scrolling and all that kind of stuff. It's fine to talk to people and research, or if you have to work, but it's this endless scrolling,
Mm,
dopamine hitting, and instead of driving 5 minutes to see a friend, like FaceTiming them or something, I think we need to get into the 3D world,
yeah. Yeah, I totally
which is what
agree.
we did 2 weeks ago. We had our event,
Yes.
the Jolly
Yes.
Swag Tour.
So how did it go?
Good, yeah, 150 people
That's
out on a
fantastic.
farm. Pretty much, well, especially for you, it'd be the middle of nowhere. It's sort of an hour and a half to the nearest decent sized town. So we had people fly in. We had someone from New Zealand, someone from Thailand. We had people from who drove days, like 3, 4 days to get there. So we had people from everywhere, every state in Australia. So yeah, it was awesome. And that was the whole thing behind it is get away from the screen, actually meet people, have actual
Yeah.
conversations, get out in nature and away. Like no one brought a computer. There were a few phones, but no one was looking at them. No one was using their phones, right? Um, and so it was great. People loved it. We had a ball just sitting around talking and had some live music. People brought, their instruments. We had some bands turn up and had some speeches and talks going on and little
Who gave
shops.
talks there?
Yeah, we had talks. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
what were the themes? Did you have different themes? Did people speaking about different?
yeah, it was just community run. So we basically told everyone if they wanted to talk, they could talk. So we had people talking about tax. We had people talking about like divining and feng shui type stuff. We had people talking about healing and meditation and herbs. And we had about three couples turn up that were like musical couples. You know, they got up and played for us, and a few other people. Yeah, and it was just great. It was we just kind of hosted it, and it's much like our newspaper. It was kind of community run, and that was the whole point. Like we had three volunteer weeks or 2 weeks, I think they were, leading up to it in the months beforehand, where we just invited people to come and help us build it, basically.
Yeah.
So they helped build it. And then, so it was, yeah, it was a community. They came, they set it up, played music and did talks and gathered, and it was great.
So I'm guessing people were camping.
Yes, it was. Yeah, yeah. So had a few caravans and buses and vans, obviously, but yeah,
Mm.
had people out there in their swags and their tents.
Oh, brilliant! And everyone behaved themselves. You didn't have any trouble.
No, no, it was great because it's everything we do is 100% from our audience.
Yeah.
Like we never advertise anything outside of the podcast audience, and our audience are awesome. So yeah, no, not a problem. Not even like nothing. You know, not
Isn't it
even
funny?
people just not liking each other. Nothing at all, really. So it was great. And we didn't tell the council or the police or anything like that. We just did it, and we had yeah, it was great. No problems at all.
Could they have said anything or done anything? I mean, would
Well, councils, they would basically come on and try and like we got like portaloos and all this and power and water for fires, so we were all set up, but they'd come in and try and tell us we didn't have something that we needed, and they'd basically just try
mm,
and charge us money. You know what they're like.
mm,
They see an event and they smell money, how to rip
yeah.
off their council. But yeah, no, it was great. So we'll be doing more of those in the future.
It's funny, isn't it, when you get a group of people together that think the same way, how different that is to a football match.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
It's
and I'm
it's all
guessing,
about the frequency, right?
yeah, I'm guessing
Everyone's on
people
the
were
same.
drinking there and smoking and
Yeah,
dabbling.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. A few people had quite a few drinks. We had a few party nights, but yeah, not even a mean word.
it's incredible, isn't it? This is something I
Mm.
noticed with my kids when they were growing up. My youngest son played football, and my eldest son played rugby. And as they got older and we were going to bigger events that started to be, held in local stadiums, the difference between the parents inside and the kids on the pitch with football and rugby. In rugby, you could sit in amongst the other parents and then progressing that further, I went to see England, Australia at Twickenham. I used to go and watch Northampton all the time, which were the Saints. They were top of the Premiership. You could sit in amongst the opposition, if you like,
Yep.
the opposing fans. You all sat together and you could drink in a rugby stadium, but not in football. And it's and I often wonder if football was almost designed to get people to hate each other, to target a specific demographic and get them to dislike each other, even if it's your next door neighbour or a friend just over the team you support. Where in rugby, you never really see it. You see the odd thing on the pitch,
Mm.
but you
Yeah,
never
I
see
get it. Well,
anything.
I suppose rugby's, a bit more upper class. Is that the right word? A bit more
I
people being
suppose,
cordial
yeah,
to each other, but in the end, that's all kind of sports, right? It is division, and I guess in somewhere like England, it's much more at a sort of focus point, right? In Australia, we have that, but you've got to drive a couple of days to get out of the state, to
yeah,
find the other team, right?
yeah,
In England, like you can walk around the corner, right? You're in someone
yeah,
else's territory, I'm guessing. So it's very, and that's what they do, right? It's kind of like statism, right? Like
mm,
this is my football team. It's just like this is my country. I'll fight
mm.
for it. So yeah, bread and circuses.
Isn't it? Isn't it
Yeah.
just? Yeah. I was having that
Yeah.
conversation with Gareth Icke last week, and he said that it is bread and circuses, but ultimately he likes both. He likes bread, and he likes circuses, and I think it's okay if you understand the concept and
Hmm.
the mechanics behind it. When you
Yeah.
don't and you're oblivious, if you're asleep to really what's going on, that I think where the danger is
Hmm.
lying, because I see it as just another mechanism to divide and conquer, to
Hmm.
separate people, like religion. We're arguing over the same bloody thing. You got Christians
Yeah.
and Jews arguing, but
And
actually, if
they're
we're
all
to
Abrahamic religions.
exactly, exactly. So and then you got the Muslims the Christians arguing with the Muslims as well, and thinking, hold on a minute, the Quran and the King James Bible. There's not a massive difference there.
No, no, the Muslims call Jesus a prophet,
Yeah,
right? But they
yeah,
hate each other, and then the small hats. I'm still scared to say that word, even though you can. Um, they basically said the opposite about Jesus, that he was a fake and a fraud and blah blah
mm,
blah, and they were actually the ones who unalived him. But the Christians
yes,
like the the small hat religion,
yeah,
right? Like, how does that work? That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's not thought through. And this is something that I keep saying to people. You can preach all you like about what's in the Bible and what somebody told you on Sunday when you went to church. But if you haven't read the owner's handbook yourself and really ingested it, then actually you don't really know what you're talking about. And a lot of it's
No.
been doctored and discarded or hidden, badly
Yeah,
translated on purpose.
the culture. Yeah, yeah, Council of Nicaea, they
Mm,
took out, what was it, 60 books or something, and now they're all non-canonical and all this kind of.
yes.
Why is that? Oh, because someone said so,
Yeah.
But
And why would you?
wasn't Enoch Noah's grandfather? Yes, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not part of the story. It's
And leaving out the book of Jesus. I would have thought that would be
the
a
book of,
fundamental one to add.
yeah, there's a book of Mary, a book of Adam and
Yeah.
Eve. And of course, they took out, the Book of Giants and
Book
all
of
these types
Giants.
of things.
Bastards. Mm,
Bastards, yeah, yeah. But and this is the thing. That's how they found the Book of Enoch. Is it was still in the Ethiopian Bible, and they found it
yes.
there in the early 1900s. And so that proves that it's all editing,
Mm.
right? That just like theirs was less edited. I think they've got an extra. I think it's like 10 books or something. It's more than just Enoch.
Yeah, I can't remember. I actually have it here somewhere. Um, but I'd started reading it. I was reading Enoch 2 as well, the second Enoch, but I don't know where it's gone. But the Ethiopian Bible is the only one worth reading. But I
Well,
always, sorry.
I always wonder why they all quote the KJV, right?
Mm,
It's like that was 1600s
mm,
that was done, and it was by a king who sold it, by the way, for a profit to help start the whole printing industry.
yeah,
And they take that over something that's clearly predates that, and so is much closer to the source. And they just no, I don't understand. It just
yeah.
doesn't compute in my head.
And the Crown still own the copyright to it. So if you buy a King James Bible today, you're
They're
still
making money.
financing the Crown,
Yep,
which shouldn't happen because the Crown's money comes from us anyway.
exactly. Right. But they're so nice, They drive past in their solid gold carriages and they wave at the poor people, so
Yeah.
they do their bit. They let
I
us stand in their light.
Yeah, I never was a fan, but the further down the rabbit hole that you go, the more you find them intolerable.
Mm.
And they shouldn't be there. I mean, we've got a German bloodline sat on our throne.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The
Saxon,
whole
Gotha.
thing stinks. Um,
Yeah,
I'm just not
yeah,
when
yeah.
when I
And they're
see
probably not
people.
even German, right? They're probably, Khazars or something, right? I
Mm,
think, probably fine
mm,
if you look into it.
yeah, I was looking into. I'm always looking into the Rothschilds and digging and digging and digging. Different surnames they've had over the years. And when the Rothschild name became Rothschild, and they started establishing, bank and finances.
Banking. Yeah.
I looked at the. I just went back a couple of what's the word I'm looking for? It's gone. My brain's packed up. So I looked
Right.
at oh, I've forgotten his bloody name as well. Sorry, Campbell.
Shell.
Yeah,
Shell.
so I looked at him, and so it was, yeah, Mayor Amschel
Yeah,
child.
Shell.
So 32 years old, he becomes this sort of banking founder, I suppose, or magnate. But I was looking at his great granddad, Elijah Baal, Shem of Worms. Baal,
Yeah.
Baal, Elijah Baal.
Really?
Yeah. And apparently
Wow.
practiced the Kabbalah, and he was into miracle working, a
Miracle
Canaanite.
working. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
With Baal, so a true
Yeah.
Painter Baal, if
Hmm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. And someone that was I was
Wow.
talking to about this was saying, well, no, at the end of the day, it wasn't the same. Baal wasn't the same thing then. It has other meanings. I said, it doesn't have other meanings. Don't, I'm not going there with you on that one.
And especially if there's a link to Canaanite, it definitely doesn't have another meaning.
No.
That was one of their gods,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, one of
exactly.
the first gods of
And there it is. If
civilization.
you want to see how dark this family is, just a couple of generations before the first Rothschild,
Yep.
it's there in black and
Fresh
white.
Eagles. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Why would they change their name?
Yeah,
What were
yeah.
they hiding from, right? Like people don't
And
just
that's
change
it,
their family name.
isn't it? Keep changing the family name. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you
and the
think that
royals do it.
yes, they just make one up, don't they?
Just make them up.
Windsors.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So it's harder to follow the bloodline, or at least if you don't look into it, you don't even understand that they're from somewhere
yes,
else.
yes.
But, I mean, yeah, it's all just one parasitic, like
Mm,
being, I think, right, with a million humans at its thing, work doing its bidding.
yeah,
And
I
then,
think so.
but I think their time is up. It's, you know, they're even looking a bit weaker. I did see one of the clips with Tony Blair just recently, and he was pushing, I think, the digital ID, but he just didn't look very confident. He kind of looked a bit defeated. I mean, like Trump, obviously, he's always still up, but a lot of them are finding they're not so, their bravado's gone a bit. They're looking a bit,
Yeah,
bushwhacked. So
yeah.
that was interesting.
Yeah, well, I
So,
hope he is. And it's no surprise that his son is going to be involved in actually the
yeah.
infrastructure and logistics of it. And that was probably put in place when he was
Wow.
a kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just going to say he got chosen to be that figurehead,
Mm,
right? I don't think he wouldn't need to know anything about the business or anything. He's just the
yeah,
name,
yeah.
you know.
There are
It's good.
references in Tony Blair's autobiography and also an MI5 document to him being the Antichrist.
Really? In
Yeah,
an MI5 document?
yeah. I mean, it doesn't specifically obviously say it verbatim, but yeah, yeah. I did some digging and I put a post up on Facebook saying I can't really share this information on this particular platform, but I put it as a blog on my website, which I control. So you can read it there if you'd like to. And then people started sharing images with me of Blair when he was in power years ago, and a lot of them came up with this is going back to when he was prime minister, of him
Mm.
having demonic eyes, and they'd sort of turned him into a sort of demon. And I thought
Yeah, I
that's
think I've
weird.
seen that picture actually. Yeah, right. What
There's
does Blair mean, I wonder?
Well,
There'd,
to me now
there'd
he's
have to
just
be
Blair
something.
Witch. But
Yeah,
the
that's the first thing that came to my head, but there'd have to be something, right?
yeah, but the more
If
digging
if
I
he
did on,
was.
I sort of dug away, and then you end up on Reddit and other platforms, and someone was saying that actually they'd traced his bloodline, and that actually he is a Rothschild, and the name was changed. It was all changed years ago,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, this is starting to make a lot more sense now, and it seems that everybody is connected to that particular bloodline. in one way or another if they're in a position of power or influence.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're either part of the bloodline, well, the bloodline would be up the top, obviously, the rulers of all these things, and then, they get a lot of people to convert into their religion as well. Like
Yeah.
everyone, the religion, is a big part of it, right? Everyone has to, all
Mm,
the leaders have to go and bow at the wall and
mm,
wear their yarmulkes and do all this weird stuff and pledge allegiance. So yeah, I think they're all possessed, right?
mm,
By the whatever you want to call it, right?
mm,
The Dark Lord, the devil, the negative force,
mm.
and but yeah, I don't think that they're busted, right? Like most people can now see it, so people are now not watching the news getting programmed, because they're not sure what's going on. As soon as you know what's going on, you watch the news and you start yelling at the TV and laughing, and that's not true.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't go in, right? So there's a lot of people.
Mm.
My roommate, her dad, just recently, like a week or two ago, she spoke to him and he was totally asleep. He's like triple vaxxed and all this kind of stuff. And he's like waking up. He's like,
Really?
yeah, over the protest because he saw the protests in Brisbane. And he's like, the news said there was only 10,000 people, but there was clearly 100,000 people there. Like they're lying to us. And he's like, I wonder what else they're lying. So, even, 70-year-old triple jab people can start to see it. So I think
But
it's
you
all
can.
good.
I sort of had these conversations with my mum quite a lot. She lives in a complex, if you like, where they're all independent. They've all got like little two-bedroom flats, one up, one down, and nice gardens, a community centre. It's not an old people's home. It is independent living because there are people there that just down on their luck, a couple of people with disabilities and so on. But it's where she wanted to be. It's at a really sort of quite a wealthy town called Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire. And it's sort of within the commuter belt to the city. A lot of bankers there. A lot of people work for airlines there because there's a big airport nearby called Stansted. So it's a really nice, affluent place to be, and it's where she wanted to be. And she goes around now telling other people what I tell her. And I sort of take it all the way back to basics. And I said to her, okay, forget everything I've told you, forget everything that I've written about and what I talk about. Forget all that for a moment. Let's just ask you one question. Do you think Princess Diana's death was a series of unfortunate events? A knackered car, a drunk driver, a little white Fiat that disappears, the camera's happening to not work on that particular day, a 45-minute drive to the hospital, once they've got her out of the car. Do you think that was just bad luck? Or do you think something sinister was behind that? She says, oh no, I think they offed her. I think that they went out. So, right, okay, if they're capable of doing that, what else do you think they're capable of doing? And it's just something as simple as that.
Mm,
With some people, you think, well, if you have the potential to do something pretty horrific to the mother of the future King of England, I have no time for any of them, but her, I did have a lot of time for her. We
mm,
used to live near her, and she used to drink before she was in the limelight. She used to drink in a pub called the Fox and Hounds, which is near Althorpe in Northampton. My friend's wife ran the pub. I never
yeah,
saw
right.
her in there, but I'd been in a couple of times after she had. And she used to say she's really lovely, very quiet, wouldn't say boo to a goose. Her brother's an arsehole, but she was really nice and she was very popular. And not as in people were stopping her in the street, but people liked her. There was nobody had
Mm,
a bad word to say against her. So if you think that it's okay to remove someone like that from the face of the earth, then what else is it possible? What else
mm,
could you consider them doing? If they do that to her, what would they do to me? And it's
yeah,
just little things like that. And now obviously people are questioning the medical intervention of 2020. More people are questioning that. For me, it's old news, but a lot of people
yeah,
are
yeah.
starting to connect dots with that.
Well, people are still getting sick.
Yes, more and more.
like, yeah, yeah. So they're starting to, yeah, like wonder,
Mm,
like why are all their friends dropping off when this didn't used to happen,
mm,
years ago. So, it's all happening. So, and that's, I think that's part of the waking up process, because you can look at all this stuff as being done for us or to us, right?
mm,
But in the end, I think we're going to get out the other end in a much better position. Like, I don't think anyone would go back to 2019, right? And the way the world was then. So it's a wake up, right?
mm.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
that's what
so.
it is. It's something waking us up. So in that context, even the dark forces, are helpful in some ways, right? They're waking us up.
Yes.
And then, we don't even, so much of everything is an edge, right? Like like I saw another video yesterday of Channel 7 in Australia, and they were at some of the rallies, and they were interviewing these foreign students, and they were saying, "Oh, what do you think about all these protesters that are out here? They're anti people like you. They're anti immigration, and doesn't are you scared?" And that, and there's people go, "Oh, I don't know why why they don't like us." And this other guy is standing there, and he comes up, and he's and as he got up, you could hear the chant in the background, and they're chanting like "Albo's a wanker," which is our Prime Minister Albanese. So it had nothing at all to do with racism or
Mm,
bloody immigration, and like the news are right there, like just lying and that would have gone to air if someone didn't jump in and call them out.
yeah.
So that's just one little example, but so much of what we see comes through the 2D world, right?
Mm,
And we can't verify a lot of it.
no.
That's why I was saying we can't, believe a lot of this. We can't believe any of it unless we've checked it, right? So all this stuff, it always, I don't know. Most of it always seems to happen in a far off country, doesn't it? Like,
It
do you ever think
does.
like maybe we all countries get different news, and so like in Australia, we're like getting all this news. Oh my God, America and Europe,
Mm,
everything's going on, and you're getting everything's going on in Australia and Asia. So we all
yeah.
think there's something going on, but there's really nothing. I mean, that's 1984, right? The
Yes, it
perpetual
is.
war, the perpetual threat, but it was all fake,
Mm,
didn't exist. So, I wonder how real it is. Not saying that, people don't go through it or anything, but, if it's not real in our lives, in our 3D world, it's not relevant for it. It's none of our business really, is it?
no. No, I
Like, I mean,
agree.
I know we all want to fix the world, but as far as like focusing on, you can't fix them anyway. That's the big thing. We should be focusing on things we can fix, right?
Mm,
Like boycotting stores, like not complying, like building our own, system, like our own food networks and water networks and shops. And, this is practical stuff that will get us out that we can do.
mm.
But, a lot of people just, it's part of the scrolling, right? They're scrolling and they're like, oh my God, the world is blowing up.
Yes.
It's the end times. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But, when we were on the farm, no screens. There was no war. There was no turmoil.
Mm.
That doesn't exist, right?
You've reminded me, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I read years ago about one of the missionaries going to an island, and he talks to one of the elders. And this is true, but I can't remember who it was, when, and where. But he said, I want to talk to you about the Bible, about our religion, and I'd like you to consider what I'm about to tell you. So he gives him the Ten Commandments and says, "Thou shalt not do this, blah 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 blah." And he says, "So what happens if I do one of these things?" He said, "Well, you'll go to hell. You won't go to heaven." He said, "But an hour ago, I didn't know what heaven and hell were. So if I had no knowledge that what I was doing was wrong, would I still go to heaven and hell? Heaven or hell?" He said, "No, no, it doesn't work like that. If you're knowingly doing something against the will of God, then you'll be punished for it. But if you didn't know of it, if you weren't aware, and you carried on doing it, then no, of course there'd be no retribution." He said, "So what you've done now is basically come and told me that some of these things that I might do could result in me going to hell and burning for eternity in a pit of fire, and all these other pretty unpleasant things happening to me. if you hadn't have told me any of this stuff, I could have just got on with my life. So basically,
Yeah,
what you've done
yeah.
now is tampered with me and changed my outlook for the rest of my life based upon a book that you've been reading, and you've shared
Mm,
some of it with me. I wish you had never come here.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right? If
And
you
it's
didn't
like
tell
the
me
bloody
that, I didn't
news.
know I could never commit a sin, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I
It's
just think that, and it's
yeah,
like the news, isn't it? You can't worry about something if you don't know it's going on. And maybe that time that we spend doom scrolling and sharing news clip after news clip with other people. Have you seen this? Have you seen what Trump's just done? If nobody watched it or took any notice, they wouldn't do anything. They'd have to stop
no.
doing things
Well,
because no one would
and this
care.
is and this is the thing, like, if I say, we should all just spend our time in the bush chatting and doing all this stuff, and people will be like, but what about the world? They're doing all this stuff. And it's like, well, yes, but if everyone went to the country and did that, nothing would happen because they can't do anything without us, right?
Mm,
They'd have no attention, they'd have no money, they'd have no henchmen. So it
mm,
actually would fix the problem. The problem is we've got society's full of people who, on different levels, right, who are different levels of
yes.
fear and they're different levels of being attached to the system, right?
Mm,
Which is inherent. And that is, again, the problem that we're all reliant on it. So obviously the solution is to get not reliant on it.
mm,
But, that's why we've got to, we've been taught, right? The system, get a job, work hard, buy a
mm,
house, you'll be right.
mm,
The government will look after you. Um, so yeah, I think the answer is just, yeah, getting out and talking to people, especially
yeah.
now, with a lot of people still isolated after the whole 2020 stuff. We had people on the weekend who still weren't talking to them, or whose families still weren't talking to them, like 5 years on,
Oh, really?
right? Yeah, and they'd lost friends and everything and isolated. So it's, for our people, it's a big thing. And then you get them all together, and everyone's like, "Oh, what years?" They're all working out. A lot of them
Mm,
live close to each other, but you never know, right? Because what are you going to do? Go door knocking and say, "Hey, did you get the thing in your arm, or and what do you know? Do you know that it's all lies?" And you're not
mm.
going to do that. So we never know, right?
Which is why
So
I think, like what you've done with your newspaper, we're going back to
yes,
grassroots, back to basics, aren't we?
grassroots.
That can't be
Ooh.
manipulated or taken down. So that's
Well,
edition one.
that's edition one. There it is, 72 pages. Oh
So how
goodness,
do we get
see.
a copy of that?
Wow, tartariaaustralia.com. Go there and you'll see it. But
Do you
yeah,
ship
it's
it
full.
internationally, Campbell?
Yes, we do.
Brilliant.
We found out that postage. Oh my God, that one. But we've worked it all out. So with because obviously it's nice to make a living, right? If you spend so much time
Mm,
doing all this, you want to make a living, right? You want to make enough money to live. So um, we were basically looking at everyone's got these school groups, these little groups and courses and things you can join for $5 a week and all that. And we looked at that, but it's still online. Right? People are still sitting in front of their computers and it's still kind of
mm,
the same experience. And we're like, well, we don't really want to go down that road.
mm,
What else can we do? And Kelly's got a background in newspaper. She used to run the Big Issue. And so we thought, what about a newspaper? It started off, I think, as a comic or a magazine and evolved into a newspaper. And yeah, so it can't be edited. It can't be changed. You can read it in your house. It's a real experience. You can give it to other people to read, and it's all user generated. So everything in there has come from our audience.
So
So
what have you got in there? What topics are you covering in that issue?
whatever people send in is what gets covered. Um, so we've got rocket church flying buildings. Someone talking about how the buildings look like rockets. We've got Scandinavian Tartaria or Atlantis. We've got like pictures and like people are advertising their companies. Sorry, I've got a green screen on. So there's advertisements for people who, you know, do different healing work or other little businesses. So it's very random. Frequency weapons are not new. The penis plague, that one's been getting a bit of attention. The penis plague,
Right.
which is a very interesting story, but you'll have to buy the magazine if you want to read it, people. And there's even like someone who's starting like a dating site for awake and unjabbed people.
Right, that's a bloody good idea.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's everything, right? Lots of articles, ads. Some people just send in photos. Some of it's like 10 words, some of them are like 3-page articles. Um, Seeking seeders. So there you go. Someone else starting up something. Exchange, educate, empower, create. So people are advertising their buildings. We've got some pictures. Paula did an article. That's a
I was going to ask if
picture
Paula
we've
got
shown
involved.
before. Yeah, yeah. Paula's in there. So it's very unique. It's basically a snapshot of, the mindset of our audience in those couple of months. So
So will
we're
it be
doing it
bi-monthly?
bi-monthly. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So every 2 months, and it's a place to be, right? And this is all about getting back in the 3D world,
Mm.
and people have, asked if they can get extras so they can hand them out. Some people, bought more than one, and so we're just trying to get that thing, right? Just basically get people away from the screen. Because again,
Yeah.
it's useful, right? The internet's useful. We both work online and with computers, and it is useful, right? But we've got to get back to understanding it's a tool.
Mm.
It's a tool. That's it.
Yeah.
We're using it as something greater than us, and this, and now it just takes all of our attention. People are scrolling, and I'm onto this new theory that the internet is now eating itself. I think it's becoming more and more irrelevant, especially with AI, right? We don't even know what's real anymore. So how much use is it to us?
Mm.
And even down to the passwords. Every time you try and get online, you got to remember this password that you don't know because you've had to change it 50 times,
Yes.
for our safety, of course.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
so it's just getting to the point where it's a big hassle, right?
Mm.
A lot of the stuff online, it just is, and we're not getting any benefit back. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're moving back into the 3D world.
Well, it's a shame, isn't it? Because I have this conversation a lot with people. They'll say to me, I don't have time to read books. And yet I'll see that they're on social media all of the time. They're sharing everything and they're commenting on everything. They're liking other people's comments. And I think you have got time to read. You're just spending your time perhaps not in the best way you could. And that, of course, is driven. We're being pushed to do that, aren't we? Where our friends become virtual and we're not
Oh,
spending
for
time
sure.
with people. And
Yeah.
I say to people, probably at least once a day, have you thought about turning your phone off for an hour?
Yeah.
Just an hour. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to die. You're okay. You can just turn it off for an hour. Or what about 24 hours where you don't go on social media at all? Have you thought about that? A
Mm.
fast, a 24-hour social
Yeah.
media fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Reset weekends.
Yeah, I think it's so
Weekends without
important.
any technology.
Yeah.
Like we need to, right? Like it's getting crazy out there. And the algorithms are made to keep us scrolling. That's essentially why we have things like TikTok, where it's short form, right? So it keeps
Yeah.
you scrolling, and that keeps your dopamine up, and that keeps you on the app longer. But saying that, there is a lot of good stuff in there too. It all depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it like this is a control device that's trying to steal my information, it's trying to
Mm,
get my attention, but I'm looking for some information, so that's what I'm doing. That's much different than going, what's on TikTok? Oh, oh
mm,
my God, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, oh, look
mm.
at this. How
Yeah.
sensational. Oh. And that's the difference. So, but when you get out and talk to people, you find that it's more interesting than scrolling online, right? It's more fun,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, it
know.
is. And you
We've
can,
just
I, I
we've
kind
just
of think
forgotten how
that
to communicate.
yes, yes. And I think 2020 was a big compounding factor for that, wasn't it? The
Oh,
disconnection. And then,
Totally.
yeah, and we forgot we were encouraged to not socialize.
Mm.
And I think people got out of the habit,
Yeah,
lost a bit of
and
skill set.
definitely, and then the whole division between, belief systems.
Mm,
People couldn't freely talk to people anymore, at least not on a real level, right? They'd have to be
mm,
self-censoring, right? Because you didn't want to hit the wrong topic, kind of
yes.
thing. And so that's gone on. And then, we've got this whole younger generation, right? And that's 5 years of their young lives that this has been going on, and it still
Mm,
hasn't reverted back to normal. So, how are they learning their social skills?
yeah.
If you're sitting at home and you've got kids and you're at home all the time on the computer, like how are your kids learning? Like, how are they going
Mm,
to learn to converse? How are they going to learn to be an adult and go out into the community, right? And be
yeah.
of value. So, that's
Yeah.
that's the second factor. My kids are grown up, luckily, but well, luckily or not, but that's a big factor as well. There were babies born
Yeah.
when everyone was wearing masks,
Yeah.
and they came out and didn't see a face, for
I
a year or
know.
something.
I know. It's
That's
ridiculous, isn't it? And the formative years were damaged for a lot of these kids, and then you've got the other end of the scale where elderly people were, struggling and vulnerable and lonely, were put in a position where no one was allowed to go and see them in case we harmed them in some way. And I think the people behind
totally.
all of this
How
can never
evil
be
is that?
forgiven. For
No, that's
they,
it's just evil, evil, evil. That's why I say they're not us. That's why
yeah,
I don't think
they're
they're a
not
collective
us.
of psychopaths. They're not us.
Yeah, they're
Like,
not. They're not us. I would argue that it's a completely different DNA,
oh
not just a
yeah,
blood group, but the DNA will be entirely different.
yeah, it could well be. Yeah, yeah, I think they're all vessels,
Mm,
you know, being
mm,
possessed, right? That they're into their possession, that's what they do for us, right? They make us go and buy new possessions all the time.
yeah, yeah, they
We
do.
consume, right? It's all
Yeah, buy things we
possessions.
can't afford and don't need to get in
Yeah.
more debt so we can carry on working even harder for their friends
But
to
yeah,
finance it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they can live on their whatever, doing whatever they do, but not just getting all the money for nothing.
Yeah, live
Because
on their islands.
who does all the people often say who does the whole world owe money to? How can every country owe money?
Mm,
Well, it's because we owe it to this whatever it is, this
yeah.
entity, right? The bankers, and it's all
Mm,
this debt they're collecting.
mm,
So we can actually just stop paying it.
yes. And then what? What
And
could
we
they
can
do about
also
that?
just say we don't believe in your money anymore.
Mm.
It's worthless to us. We're now using gum nuts or whatever you want, right?
That's kind of the way barter and trade is kind of where we need to get back to. And I've often wondered, it was their money during the Tartarian time, or was it
Yeah.
barter and trade?
Or was it just all free? Did
Yeah.
people just do what they love to do? And because of all the diversity, some people happen to love growing fruit and veggies,
Mm,
right? Some loved working with water, right? And that's what they did. And so
mm,
there was, or making different things, right? So if clothes, so if you needed clothes, you could just go and get them, right? Because they were just there. Or,
yeah.
I think it was probably, looking at the buildings, that there's, in my mind, there's no way that they were built like to a budget, right?
No.
It's not like today with like we've got this much money, so this is what we're going to do.
Mm,
Is going to that they built it perfectly the way it had to be.
mm,
It wouldn't have. So I don't think they had money. No, I don't. Not at least not in the way that we
yeah.
think of it or see it. They probably had something more of like an energy barter system. They probably all stood by their word.
Mm,
If you do something for good for me, then I'll, remember it and that kind of thing. Good old-fashioned values that we used to get taught,
yeah.
you
Yeah. And
know.
you'll go the extra mile if you're doing something that you love and you put that
Mm.
love and passion into what you're doing. Whereas you
Yeah.
don't get, we all know if you ring a
Oh, I was
insurance
such a bad
company
employee.
or yeah, we've all experienced it. A lot of us experience it on a regular basis that you ring somewhere or you go into a shop and you're greeted by someone who really doesn't want to be there, and you know
Mm,
straight away that they're not happy. They're probably
no.
treated like dirt on minimum wage, and if they
And
were
they would
doing,
have some great talent. You
yes,
know, like how many musicians spend their life serving coffee?
mm,
You know,
yeah,
it's like, and this is the thing, as soon as the system's lifted and people can just do what they want without threat of violence, then we're not going to have any problems because everyone's
mm,
got talents and gifts. Everyone's good at
mm,
something. And
yeah,
like you said, everyone's happy doing that. Their natural gifts. We all tend to enjoy those things, right?
yeah. You've just got to find out what it is. You've just got to try new things, haven't you? And be brave and say, okay, well, I want to have a go doing this. And it's never too late to start again. You can keep doing. I think we die in our infancy. I think if you hit 80, 90, we're still younger than we had the potential to be.
Oh,
And
for
and
sure. Yeah.
what do we know? Grey hair is supposed. I mean, I've got
Well,
skin in the game with grey hair, but that's supposed to be a sign that you're becoming older and wiser. And I think that the
yeah.
grey hair is, perhaps showing people that he's of a certain age or she's of a certain age where they've experienced a little bit more than the younger people, and maybe they've been where you are, got the t-shirt, and they might have some advice that's worth listening to, or they might be completely barking mad. But if you don't get grey hair until you reach a certain age, your 50s or 60s or whatever, then you've only just begun learning and understanding, really.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah. I've often wondered if grey hair is actually the marker of, adulthood, if you want,
mm,
you know, because
yeah,
that's when you're sort of matured, right? Like, because we know, when you're 18, they say you're an adult. I mean, geez, you don't know anything. You're 18, you're
no,
crazy. Even 21,
mm,
30s, 40s, you're starting to get, a bit of the gist. So yeah, I mean, I agree. It even says in one of those religious books, right, that we're supposed to live to 120 years.
yes,
And that's the shortened version, right? You
mm,
will now only live to 120 years.
yeah,
So, I mean, we should all be doing that at least, and
yeah,
if they weren't spraying skies and waterways and food, then
mm,
we probably would be, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think there are other things that are harming us as well, like EMF, with smart
Yes,
meters and so on. I think
definitely.
we're going to see
Yep,
cancer continue to soar,
yep,
skyrocket. In fact, I
yep.
think.
Light frequencies, things like this, like all the
Mm,
fluorescent lights that we're under,
mm,
affects the circadian rhythms and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's everything, and it's like they're terraforming the world, right? And us
mm,
at the same time. They're trying to change us and the realm, right?
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they are aliens, and they've changed it enough now, and now the mothership's shooting through the solar system to come and invade us. Who
So
knows?
that's due next month, is it? In theory.
Yeah, man. Yeah, AI Atlas. I can't believe you haven't heard of it. Have a look at it. It's
No,
mainstream. They're putting it on the mainstream news.
I see. I don't watch mainstream news at
No,
all.
neither do I.
But
No, I've heard it off other sources, but it's part of the agenda. Like they're pushing this. They're pushing it. They've had like, Harvard bloody scientists come out, got all their experts coming out saying, "Oh yes,
really,
we've picked up nuclear signatures from it. I think it's nuclear powered and we're getting all these signals. I think it's trying to talk to us." And so they're putting all this background, which they do, right? All these ideas in your subconscious, and they to get you to accept those, and they build on it and build on it, and then hopefully, when they say it's here, it's invading, and they put their big sky show on, then hopefully everyone will believe it. That's their plan.
bloody hell. I think I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Stephen Hawkins. He believed that. I mean, you know, he's not as
Did he?
credible now as he used to
Or did his
be.
voice box? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a free. Didn't he have air miles at Epstein's Island? Um, so he's not
Mm.
not someone that is perhaps in certain circles as credible as he once was. But he said that, or something along the lines of that. He believed that the reasons aliens, real aliens, haven't shown themselves to the public en masse is because half of the population of the world would immediately get out a gun and shoot at them.
Well, maybe so, yeah. I guess it depends where they landed. Um, yeah, I mean, but if you're an alien, you wouldn't just, if you're that intelligent, I don't think they just land. But
No,
I also don't think that what they would do is go to our leaders.
no.
If they were intelligent, that would be the last place they would go, right?
Mm, mm,
So they're much, more likely, I guess, to try and influence people, which, could be valid. A lot of people say they talk to all these entities and
mm.
Star Fleet Academy or whoever it is,
Yeah, the Galactic
The
Federation
Galactic
and
Force, the Galactic, yeah, that
yeah,
one. So, who knows? Because I think if there's ETs, they're either from other land, out of land or different dimension. I think it's, it could be a dimension thing, which is, I think,
yes,
where this parasite has come from. We've suddenly got a lot of talk of wormholes and all this kind of stuff
mm,
and, portals and that. So I think, and time travel,
mm,
so I think there is ways for other entities to get in here, right?
yeah. But
And there's
people,
probably ways for us to get out.
yes, yes,
Don't
and
know where
maybe
you
that
end
is
up.
how you get through the ice wall. If there is an ice wall and there are continents beyond it, maybe that's how you actually achieve it.
The portal, just
Mm,
go through it.
mm,
Could be, could be. But yeah, this is why we all need to ignore the system, stop feeding it.
absolutely, and we
I
feed it
think
with
if ever,
fear a lot of the time.
yeah, I think if everyone just stopped feeding it anything,
Mm,
money or attention for a week, what could they do? They'd be
yeah.
completely, they'd be gone in a week.
Yeah, and the real news doesn't hit mainstream anyway. Very
No.
rarely. There was a protest here that turned into, well, it's almost turned into a riot a while back. Like, I think it was last week, and it didn't, it wasn't being covered. There was no coverage of it on mainstream media until the police intervened. The police started getting a bit heavy-handed, and all of a sudden, that's when it started. So, and obviously, in my opinion, that was because it was peaceful. The police
Yeah,
joined in. It became, you know,
yeah,
heated, and at that point, they don't show you the before. They just show you what happened once the police got involved, and then they can tell you anything about why the police had to get involved. But what my wife was watching it from start to
yeah.
finish, and she said there was no need for the police to get involved at all. They did
Well,
to
mm,
incite
yes.
violence.
100%. And there's no need from our point of view, right? But from their point of view, there is, because this is what
Mm,
they need. They need to paint us as the crazies.
yes,
The
exactly.
normal people that are standing up and just speaking, we've got to be crazy, right? Because if we're not, then people will believe us, right? And we're saying that they're the problem, that the government are the problem.
Mm,
And this is where they are. This is why I think they're all scared, right? They don't know what to do. But
mm,
then there's Antifa. I was watching the
hmm.
footage from France or Paris, and everyone was, nice,
Mm,
peaceful,
yeah.
as you normally see in protests. And then you see this group of like 100 people, all in black, faces covered. And as soon as the police come in, they just started trashing the joint, setting bins on fire, like
Mm,
ripping the road up to get rocks to throw at the police. And then of course on the news, all the protesters are,
yeah.
violent and attacking police, and
Mm,
so it's a script, right? But that's one good thing about phones, right? We can now find footage of people who are in these things,
mm,
and you can see what actually goes on, which
yeah.
is what you should do rather than watch the news. You definitely shouldn't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in. Is the news still on? Do people still
Apparently
watch that?
so. Yeah.
I haven't watched TV itself, apart from the old Netflix movie in like decades. I don't even know.
No,
So,
I did watch it. I used to watch it up until 2020. I was still watching the news, and I found
yeah.
myself, like you said earlier on, arguing with it, arguing, disbelieving it, and then I thought when we got to 2020 and I started seeing people that I had a little bit of respect for lying to us about, you've got to support this, you need to roll your sleeve up. I thought that's it for me. I'm now done. And the last news article I watched live was Elon Musk having a bit of a dig at the BBC for lying. They said to him, "Why are you allowing people to say whatever they like on X?" when it was Twitter, it was a safer place, and now you're letting people put whatever they like up on there and lie to people about what's really happening with the pandemic. And he said, well, it's, along the lines of, well, it's funny that you're mentioning this because, of course, you lied throughout the entire pandemic. You lied about the virus itself. You lied about the number of people taking the intervention. You lied about the side effects. You lied constantly. And he said, well, I didn't think we were here to talk about that. And he said, no, you weren't expecting this, were you? And that was the last credible thing I heard
That
that
wasn't
man
an approved
say.
question, Mr. Musk. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's interesting, but I think we all know that he's part of it, the
Yeah,
whole system
absolutely.
too, right? Because he came to London, right, the UK, for the protests last week,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And he was like, no, no, cyber security or whatever it's called, internet ID. But he owns the company that is trying to put chips in people's heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And where's
it's
his
like,
funding come from? I mean, he's never actually made any money. It's all
well,
government
he's
funded.
yeah, that's where he makes all his money. They're all contracts as far as
Mm,
his SpaceX and all this kind
mm,
of stuff. Um, the story is, well, true or not, his father, they
mm.
owned the biggest emerald mine in Africa, so he comes from money. But that's if it's the real Elon Musk,
Yes.
He's just a character. I think they're all
Yeah.
put up, they're funded. We can't tell if he's a billionaire or not. He's definitely nowhere near the richest man in the world. And how do you become the richest man in the world off what? Some government contracts
Mm,
for SpaceX where you would think there has to be a lot because he'd have to spend a lot to make all those,
yeah.
you know, fake spaceships and stuff. Tesla's nowhere near as big as things like Toyota or Hyundai or Ford. It's tiny. And then what's he got? Some money from when he sold PayPal, which he didn't create either.
Mm,
So it's all crap. They just put them
yeah.
up, put figures there. They give them the nice lifestyle. They give them a house to live in, and then that basically that's what they do, right? Play ball or you lose it all,
Yeah.
right? And plus,
Yeah.
we shame you in the media.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah, because it wouldn't take much, would it? Just to pop something up on the news saying that,
yep,
he's been arrested with allegations of being Epstein's, you know, best friend
yep,
or
best mate.
something
Yeah,
similar along those lines. So what
yeah.
are you
We found this
currently?
there. We found that there. Yeah,
Yeah, just plant, and they could plant it, couldn't they? They don't even
they do.
necessarily have to find anything at all. They could
No,
say it or
they
plant
do it
it.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be nothing anyone could do about any of it. Is there anything
No.
you're currently researching?
At the moment, I'm kind of looking at the whole internet thing a lot, and
Mm,
the AI thing, and digital ID, and what's the sort of what do we do about it? What's the solution? It feels like we're getting close to some kind of change point at least. I don't know. Like I think, probably towards the end of the year, early next year, I think things are going to change. So, yeah, I've really been doing that recently. I haven't been going down too many sort of history rabbit holes. I'm sort of looking at the world that we find ourselves in, right? And trying to
yeah,
navigate that. And putting a lot of work obviously into the live events and the newspaper, and we've got a few other things. We're also with Kelly, like we're getting into the whole law thing, and basically leaving the system, right? We're starting up a trust, so we're going to get out of the public and into the private, get out of the tax and all the law stuff, and then work on. We've got a few people around us, who have been doing it for years and years. So we're going to, yeah, walk down that path in the next sort of year and basically detach from the system as much as we can.
yeah,
Um, yeah, we've got friends who have sent all their documentation back. They've sent everything back, their licenses, their birth certificates, all their bank cards, and basically said, "This is not me. This is all fraud. I don't,
yeah,
I no longer, am this person. Basically, I don't." So yeah, but we're just gonna take our time, because we don't want to end up doing something that, you got to fight your battles as well, right? Which is,
yes,
and so it's a journey, it's a ladder. But yeah, that's the next big thing, which is, I think, where ultimately isn't that where every,
mm,
truther is headed?
yeah,
Like, out of the system, right? That we
Yeah.
know what the issue is. It's the system. So that's got to be the sort of end, one at least one of the end gates is getting out of it. So that's another big focus. So got a lot going on next year.
Yeah, you have. I mean, I think with the system, Richard Vobes has recently bought some land, and he wants to get off grid completely. He
Yeah.
doesn't pay council tax. He doesn't pay water. Obviously, he doesn't have a TV license. He's not paying income tax either. He's fought all of it, and he's managed to get his girlfriend's children out of the education system, and they've even had the police round, and he's finally at the point this week where he now owns the land and he's growing his own produce and
Ah,
trying to be
a loyal
self-sufficient.
title.
And
Mm,
he's in a fortunate position. He owns his house. He paid the mortgage off a very long time ago. So it's something that he's actually doing, and I find it really interesting to watch the journey that he's been on because he shared it
mm,
with me, and I'm kind of stuck in it. I'm stuck in the system because for me to be a because I rent for one. Secondly, my books are published through Amazon. Now, they're not going to pay me in any other way other than a bank transfer. So I have to have a bank account. Um, and also there's the aspect of travel. Would I want to hand my passport back?
now,
No.
that's
So
the
I so,
big one there. That's the big one as
yeah.
well. That hasn't been tested yet. So we're like,
I'm
gonna have to
kind of
show us that
picking my
works.
battles really, but May
Yeah,
next
I
year is
think,
my turning point. That's when I actually my private pension I started when I was 18 years old to help a friend out. He'd just left the Royal Navy. He'd done 3 years in the Royal Navy, and he went to work. He couldn't find a job, so he went to work for an insurance company, knocking on doors, basically going around trying to sell people a pension. I signed up, and all of his friends signed up to help him get started. He had to sell 10 policies to get a permanent job with them. So we all signed up, and I didn't think anything of it. It was a tiny amount of money that you didn't notice each month, and it pays out in May. So
yeah, right.
yeah. So
Got a little lump sum coming. Yeah, nice.
yeah. So that was 37 years ago.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay, so it's substantial-ish, I'm guessing.
yeah. So it's and that's enough for me to buy land, and we're looking at Portugal and actually remove
Ah, right.
ourselves from the system completely. But I'm still going to need to dip in and out because I can't self-publish my books. People can't buy them online without me having a
Well,
bank
yeah.
account of sorts.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We need to recreate all of these,
Yes,
systems. Not that that's probably the right word, but we need to create our versions of all this stuff, right?
yes, we
And
do.
so that's going to take time. And that's why, for most people, it's going to be a sort of slow walk out of the system, right?
Mm,
Because it's no, you're no good to yourself or anyone if you're just sitting on your land, but you can't feed yourself, you're
yeah,
sitting there in the cold, right?
mm,
Doesn't help anyone. So everyone's got to, and that's the thing, it's got to be, your decision. So we're going to actually bring in like lots of different points of view because there's lots of different, angles and everyone thinks they're
mm,
right. So we want to get away from that, just show all the different
mm.
things and people make their mind up what they want to do. You've got to walk your own path. It's part of growing up. If everyone wants this new world they keep talking about, well, you've got to be responsible in the new world, right? Which means
Yeah.
you've got to start now.
I think,
This is, I think that's why communities don't work. Like as far as communes, people, all put
mm,
in and go and buy land and they all disintegrate, right?
mm,
Because people haven't taken responsibility, so they all turn up with their problems
yeah,
and they all lump them in the field together, and then it just makes
yeah,
everything worse.
yeah.
So,
And I
you
think for
know,
something to completely die, in order for it to be reborn. So for us to come out of this current period and go move into the next, it's going to get a lot worse. We are going to see it because that's how it works, isn't it? For something to be born out of the ashes, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, it actually has got to burst into flames. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's like the butterfly, right? The butterfly, the caterpillar goes in the cocoon and
mm,
then it turns to liquid. It
mm,
liquefies. So there's nothing left of the caterpillar before it grows into the butterfly.
mm,
And the cells that do it, that make it transform, or what is it, metamorphosize,
yeah,
are called imaginal cells. So there you go. That's what's going to get us through the change as well, right? It's our imagination
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
what
think
we
you're
can
right.
see on the other side,
So to
which doesn't live
get
inside the computer or
no,
AI.
no, absolutely right. So to get a copy of your newspaper, is it
Yes.
a visit to the website? Is that the best place?
Yep. Just go to the website tartariaaustralia.com. Scroll down and it's not far down. You'll see it. It's very visible. And yeah, you can go there and sign up and check out what else is on the website.
You were
Yeah.
talking about coming over to the UK to do a tour. Is that something
We
that you might
were,
do in the future?
yeah, well, we're still thinking about it. Yeah, we ran out of time basically because we had to build the farm to run the event and we had all this other stuff on, and so we didn't get there. But yeah, no, Kelly spent half her childhood in the UK, so she's definitely wants to go. So yeah, it's definitely we'd love to come and do a tour, right? Come and do a few shows over there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do you think you might do that next year, perhaps?
yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
next year for sure. Be nice if our Australian dollar went up a bit because it's crap at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
It costs us a fortune, but yeah, no. So yeah, I'm looking at going to Pakistan as well for a tour in February, so that'll be fun. And then I think that's all we've got. We've got a lot of Australian like dates as well,
Yeah.
but yeah, we definitely need to do some. Yeah, we definitely want to do a UK tour,
It'd be lovely to
and then
see you here.
yeah. Yeah, I'm into it, and Martin's there, and we've got other, friends in common there. So, yeah, we're definitely into it. It just didn't work this year with
Yeah,
timing
too
and
much on.
everything. And yeah, like, especially Kelly, she's still got a full-time job, right?
Hmm.
She runs a charity, so that's a lot harder for her to get time. Where me, I don't have it. I just, yeah, okay, I'll go. I've got no
Yeah.
time. But yeah, no, we'll definitely get there. Yeah, yeah. So I think next year's a good possibility. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, I hope you do make it across. And thanks, Campbell, for giving up your time. I sort of keep an eye on the time. We normally go for about an hour, don't we? And I just noticed we're
What have we done? Oh wow, an hour and three or an hour and a half.
yeah. But I appreciate you giving up your time, and it's been great having you back on.
Yeah, yeah. It's been nice having a chat for a while. Missed
Yeah,
them.
yeah. It's been too long, mate.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. So
Not
hopefully I'll put a link
once
up in
this
the
time.
description, and people can take a trip over to your website and get a copy of your paper. I wish
And
you the very best with that. I think it's
yeah,
fantastic. Back to
yeah,
grassroots.
yeah, yeah. I think, we've tried the whole electronic thing, the digital future, and I think we don't seem to be that far into it, and it's looking like a
Mm,
bad idea, right?
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm kind of
Yeah,
with Mark Devlin. I don't know if you know of Mark Devlin, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he says that the thing with Kindle is that okay, a lot of people want to read electronically. They don't want to hold an old book. They can't be bothered with it, or the inconvenience of having to lug a book around and storage and so on. But Kindle, at the end of the day, Kindle, kindling, burning, book burning. What you're
Yeah.
reading might not be what the author published. You just don't
No.
know.
And for old books, it's provably not. But that's the thing
Mm,
is how easy we saw how easy it was for them to take down YouTube accounts,
mm.
censor everyone. So if they want to get rid of books, it's just a flick of a button now. They don't have to burn the city down anymore.
No, exactly. And what happens if they do turn it all off? If we end up in some sort of civil war or world war, they turn it all off. All we've got then is books and some old vinyl
Yeah,
and
we
a
need books,
candle.
right? Yeah, you don't want to be stuck with Mills and Boon, man. Go and get some real books.
No, exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks
Yeah,
again, Campbell. I really
thank
appreciate your
you.
time. And
Cheers, guy.
I'll
I
put a
enjoyed it.
link up, and we'll get some people over to your website and get some of those books ordered. But thanks
Cheers.
again. It was really lovely
Thank you,
chatting
man.
to you.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it, mate. Thanks.
Bye for now.
Yeah, see you soon.
Bye bye.
See you, everyone.